Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Honcast here, Honcast Podcast, coming at you. What is a Friday, of course, and ain't many better days in the week. A Friday it is. We got the weekend ahead of us. We got the Deadeye Bounty League playoffs coming at you this weekend. We'll be talking about that later on in the show. We got a lot to talk about with that said. We got this event around the corner called DreamHack Summer 2015. It's coming up, and we finally know all the teams going. We're going to break down that. Also, how the groups are going to be looking. No doubt going to be some fun stuff there. And then also some power rankings going to be coming at you, amongst perhaps some other things here on this podcast. So really looking forward to a good podcast today, and excited to be here with you guys. With that said, as you see on the panel here, first things first, I'll throw it around. We'll start with Beef. Beef, how's it going?
Hey guys, glad to be here. Wow, I'm in a very different space. Some people might notice right now, and I'm in a kitchen with like cathedral ceilings, and I just realized when I talk really like talky, like how I normally talk, it just echoes. It's a lot. I hope that you guys can't pick that up.
I heard that the players like kicked you out of their room because you were just being too loud.
I'm at the Complexity Gaming house right now with our Dota team, who some of you guys might have heard of them. Sweet, Z-Freak, Swindle, Moon Meander, Fly from Fnatic. I mean, a few guys. I was going to do the podcast up there, but they were like, no, you're way too loud. Like, we can hear you while we're scrimming. Go away.
Nice.
So I had to move into a different area. But it's good. Hanging out with the guys over here. Really excited about a lot of really cool news we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, there's definitely some fun stuff to talk about. And on that note, too, we got this other guy going to be joining us here. He's not too sure why yet. But, no, he's on because he's just a cool guy in general. We'll start with that. Snooey, how's it going?
I'm really nervous right now, actually. For those tuning in, I haven't actually been told who's actually getting the co-caster spot quite yet. I know that it's come down to 2 people, but I don't know the final decision. So yeah, I'm I'm starting to shake almost. I'm at that point right now.
Well, you know what? Let's just get right into it then. You know what would be really awkward if we had you come on and you didn't actually win? That would be really weird, wouldn't it? Here's the deal. Shorecan is going to DreamHack Summer 2015 as a co-caster. However, you are also going to DreamHack Summer 2015 as a co-caster. You're both coming. It was a tough decision. It was a very tough decision. It was ultimately decided that both of you are just so damn good and so good looking, damn it, that we want to bring you both. So, Snooey, you are going to be one of the 2 co-casters at DreamHack Summer 2015 with Shorecan. So, congratulations. There you go. Yeah, you had no clue.
Oh. All right. Thank you very much.
So, you're excited?
Yeah, I'm very grateful for the opportunity granted to me. I will make sure not to disappoint, and I will, of course, keep improving as a caster up until the DreamHack event. I can promise you that.
That's great to hear, man. That's great to hear. We know you're a hard worker, and we know you're going to do great at the event. So congratulations again, and, well, we got that out of the way. Beef, is there anything you wanted to add?
Well, I mean, here's the deal. We talked about it yesterday at length, you know, me, you, and a couple other guys, that we were just kind of all talking like, who are we gonna go? And it was a debate, like back and forth. Like, it came down to like, who's really good looking, and they're both really good looking, and like, it was to the point where we actually tried to schedule this playoffs thing for this weekend. We need more time. Like, we're gonna let the community decide. And then Shortcan's like, I can't make this weekend. I'm doing this thing with my family. And we're like, Milkfat's just like, screw it. We're sending them both. They're both that good. We can't make a decision. And so that was really exciting. But we still want the community's input. Isn't that right, Breaky?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely would like to. Okay, I see what you're getting at.
Breaky, come on, take the lead.
I had to really think about that one for a second. So with that said, again, you guys are going to be both big co-casters at the DreamHack event. However, to kind of help tie that in as far as letting the community ultimately decide, one thing in the end here, who's going to cast the finals with myself will be decided by the community. So whether that's yourself or Shorecan, you know, it's going to be up to the community. It's going to be fun no matter what, though, at the actual event. But you guys at home, though, you will get the opportunity to vote for the co-caster within the DreamHack Summer 2015 event for the finals specifically. So that's something to look forward to as well. But when it comes to coverage, though, there's going to be plenty of it. So expect a lot of casting time, even though you're one of 2 co-casters. I'll say that much. It's going to be a crazy format, and we'll get into that later on as well, of course, in the podcast.
Yeah.
So,
but I just want to thank everybody, not only internally that has helped make the event actually a possibility with the Newers Next Caster, but all the guys that applied, all the competitors. I mean, it was an extremely tough decision. Like that is absolutely true. And even the guys like Matthew Matical and St. Rocks, like I cannot wait to see them both go. And they've both got their individual streaming that they do on their streams. And I think it would actually be really cool to put the two of them together, maybe even to cover, secondary streams at DreamHack. Something like that.
Absolutely, yeah, no, obviously all in the top 4, even in the top 8. I mean, obviously all great candidates in the end, and it was a lot of fun. I was pretty skeptical. I'm not gonna lie, going into this event. I'm sure you could vouch for that, Beef. I wasn't sure what to expect from it, but I am so glad we did it because it really did help us not only discover new talent, but really help to show that what kind of talent really is out there when it comes to casting. And we got some fine winners here in Znui and Shorecan once again. One of these times I'll pronounce his name correctly. So I have to figure
I think
that
it's
one
actually
out,
like Shorecan or something.
Quincy has made it very specific. It's Shorecan. Shorecan.
Oh, okay.
So
we'll have to talk.
We should figure that one out before casting a DreamHack and everything. Anyway, so that takes care of that, guys. So again, it was a lot of fun here, and moving forward, it's going to be fun casting with you guys, of course.
Snooey, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah.
I mean, how was your experience with the event? We're the kind of organizers and the judges, but how was your experience as a competitor in this event? A different kind of competitor.
You mean the casting contest in general?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, it's been for 2 weeks now, and I think it's safe to say that everyone's been making some really good progress. It's been tricky at the same time because I mean one day you're casting and next day you're as a spectator tuning into the stream, so I mean it's been a little bit on and off and it's been awkward at times, but I mean as long as you get to do the casting, I mean in the end it's been really great. I feel like I've improved as a caster, and no matter who we're going to win, I have prepared for tons of different scenarios. Like even if I weren't going to win or if I weren't going to win, I still feel like this contest made me a stronger person and made me realize the goals that I have when it comes to esports. So yeah, I mean I'm grateful once again for the fact that you guys let the community weigh in and actually make this contest happen. So yeah, thanks.
Awesome stuff, man.
Pleasure.
Really do. Yeah, that's really cool to hear, and definitely, again, glad that it was a good experience in the end. Again, obviously, winning helps too, I'm sure, so in the long run. So, yeah, but I think that pretty much takes care of that, though. Then now we can move on with the actual podcast here. Now that we got that part out of the way, so. All right, so moving things on now. Now, as far as the rest of this podcast goes, guys, obviously, again, we got plenty to talk about. We got the Deadeye Bounty League. We got the power rankings that we're going to be going over later on in the show. But and even DreamHack Summer, of course, around the corner here. We'll talk plenty about that. A lot of that. However, I wanted to start before we got into all of that stuff. A couple of announcements that have been made recently concerning some teams, and I figured it would be good to start with that. So that when we're talking about them later, it makes sense. For those that may not have known, there have been a couple of teams that actually have been picked up by organizations, some gaming organizations. The first one being, we happen to have this guy Beef on here, and he's involved with good old Complexity, and let's just say, they picked up Nullstone Gaming recently. So Nullstone, now known as Complexity, for good reason there. It's a great team and a great sponsorship, obviously, and I'm sure they're going to be a great team for it in the end. But Beef, I figure I'll let you take that. I mean, what was it like with this process, and how was it like having a team in Nullstone now Complexity, of course?
It's kind of interesting because I got my start in esports really through the Complexity organization and through Complexity Han. And so this is somewhere that I'm just extremely passionate about, working with Frostburn, working with Han Esports, all that kind of stuff. But I also get to help run Complexity Gaming these days. And we're always looking at different games. And Han has had its ups and downs. Everybody can tell you that. But the trajectory that Han is on right now and the consistent passion and dedication that everybody in the game has, it's really impressive. And I've always been looking for opportunities to get back involved in Han, and we were never just able to find that perfect one. With North American teams especially, the roster shuffles and everything like that, for a team like Night Raid in the past, they can just, it can be really difficult from an organization's perspective. Even like our original team had 8 players on it, the DWI team back in 2011.
That's right.
And that's something you want to avoid. But Nullstone Gaming really epitomized having the roster stability. They've had 1 roster change in 8 months, and that was just Drent's taking a seat back. And not only that, but they've got a massive amount of talent and just dedication, and we can chant USA, USA. So
Merca.
they were a really solid choice for us. I spent a lot of time talking to not only the guys, but everybody in the scene that deals with them, trying to get as many opinions as I can, and it came back pretty unanimously for us that these are a great group of guys to work with, a great group to play with, and somebody that I wanted playing with my organization, so we made that happen.
Snooey, as a player yourself and a caster and everything, what was your reaction when you heard about Complexity picking up a team?
I was surprised at first. I didn't think that the Complexity was actually, looking to once again enter the Heroes of New York scene. But seeing as, Beef is an awesome guy, and having him as a manager for one of the leading top teams in Heroes of New York is like it's great for the scene in general. So I'm really excited to see, and I know for a fact that everyone in Complexity Gaming now is like everyone in Form and Nullstone Gaming are really good guys. So I'm looking forward to it big time to see them at DreamHack and see them compete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Beef, maybe you could help answer this too. Considering the team here, is it safe to say that this isn't just a DreamHack thing? This isn't like you're just picking them up for DreamHack purposely and then whatever happens after?
I mean, I was very upfront with like Sam and even yourself when I was talking about initially picking up this team that I didn't want us to be an organization that would come in and go just to slap our names on people. This is something that I wanted to be long term, and I was very clear with the team about that as well. I'm like, you guys, Han is not a game where you can necessarily consider this a full-time job for everybody. But you guys have your school, your work, whatever you're doing, but you are going to be dedicated for Han for as long as we're with you, right? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Like Han is love, Han is life. And we're like, all right, because we want to have a long-term deal here. We don't want a one-night stand being DreamHack with this team. And so, yeah, we're absolutely here with this team as long as we can.
Will this be the best Complexity team we've seen?
It's some tough competition,
there
right?
There we go. There's a good debate.
It is some very tough competition with some legendary players, Peter, Pandam, PPD, Franzi, whatever you want to call him. You got B-Kid and Haxerin and Chessie and Moon Meander. Like, there's some legendary names. Slicks, Toronto. Like, that's some really, really big shoes to fill. But if anybody can do it, I think these guys have a shot. We'll see. 3 weeks away. We'll see how they do on their first land. As Fantasy put it in an article that he wrote about this team coming back to Han, right now the organization is shooting for our 3rd silver medal in a row at DreamHack. And I wanted to punch him in the face for saying that, but we got to win gold. Yeah.
They back-to-back silver, so... Yeah. Gold is the goal this time around for obviously many of teams going to the event. So, that's what a great time, definitely. Again, moving forward. So it's really cool. It was definitely very cool to hear that Complexity, great organization as it is, coming back into the Han scene. So another, just so happens, another organization also coming back to the Han scene. We have seen them before several times. Druids actually announcing recently here that they picked up Fresh, formerly known as Fresh now. So Druids, an organization, again, they've been around for a while. We have seen this name before several times here. Interesting thing with Druids specifically, it does seem like that, especially with the DreamHack events, they like to pick up teams, that happen to be going to DreamHack. I believe they are a Swedish company from my understanding, so, that helps with that tie as well, of course. So, figure Fresh doesn't have a sponsorship yet. Look to pick up them, and obviously that worked out. So, Druids, another team. What are your thoughts? Stu, we'll start with you on this one. I mean, again, kind of the same deal. What would you think about when you hear this pickup here?
It brings back memories as well to season 1, because I remember that when we formed One Trick Pony, Stroyfooter and Fusi were part of the Druids roster at the time, so they actually left the Druids to join One Trick Pony. But I had a little bit of time to talk with the manager and all that kind of stuff, and it seemed like they were good guys. And also, once again, another sponsorship for Heroes of New York. It's great news in general.
Beef? What's your input on that?
What was that, like the Druids Omega roster back in like 2012 or
Yeah.
something?
I think so.
I think it was
something like
with
that.
Pew as well. Actually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
that
right,
That sounds about right. Man, that's way back in the day.
They have some history, yeah.
No, is Druids a DreamHack champion? I know they were in the finals of like our very first DreamHack.
They're not, because obviously you had Fnatic, you had
It was either Druids or KD that won the very first.
It was Online Kingdom, I thought.
No,
Was it not then? God,
I don't know.
long
One of
ago
our
now.
historians. You know who's going to know this is Fantasy. Fantasy is going to know
I'm
this
sure
for
he
a
would
fact.
know.
So we're going to wait 20 seconds and let him know in chat. But
Delayed
until
catch
then,
up.
I'm going to say it's awesome to have more organizations in here. And one of the biggest things that Druids is going to be doing for the guys of Mint, their Han team now, they're actually going to be boot camping in the Druids offices there in Sweden prior to the event.
It was
So-
KD Gaming. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Kabop. I remember that name specifically on that roster.
So
Yeah.
they're going to get their boot camp on. Sync's going to get their boot camp on. Complexity's going to be heading out a few days early to get some boot camp going on. People are taking this event serious.
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's new here. You got Complexity going to be staying at your place you were mentioning, and so it's all these hookups here happening. And yeah, it's every team, right? Every team is planning to boot camp, I believe. At least the North America and Europe. So that's really cool. That's definitely cool to hear. Everyone taking it pretty seriously, as they should be, because again, we could have announced a $0 prize pool for this event, and I still think the teams would have been fairly happy. I mean, sure, maybe not crazy happy. Okay, maybe let's not go that far here, but it has history. It's safe to say. I mean, this is where esports for Han specifically truly began, right? I mean,
Sure.
I think there's no arguing that, and obviously it has plenty of history with the event itself. It's a good tie-in, and even to today, there's still, even with us on a little bit of a hiatus here from DreamHack coming back, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of fans for Heroes and Newers. So it's going to be, yeah, exactly. It's going to be exciting stuff. So.
And it's certainly not a $0 prize pool breaking.
No, it's
not.
not.
We should reiterate that.
Let's make a point there. Yes, that was just a theoretical, but no, there's obviously money on the line here. So
$30,000 base prize pool. And
yes.
some more money ideally going to be coming in. I don't know exactly how much, but something more, that's for sure.
Yeah, something more there. So actually, do you have that link, by the way, to DreamHack that I could pull up here that has that information?
Oh, boy.
Get the chance to put you on the spot there. Because that'll kind of lead us in now. So we talked about these new sponsorships here and everything. A couple of them will Complexity and Druids here. So, again, great to hear. Let's start getting into the DreamHack event itself. So, again, we know the 8 teams that are going now. We know the 8 teams that are going now. The 5 for North America and Europe. We're looking at Fresh. It was Fresh, Sync, Complexity, Reason Gaming, and Bad Monkey Gaming, of course. Looks like you got the link there. Okay, cool. So pulling this up on screen for a reference. Beef doing work. So here's kind of the breakdown in case you guys missed it. This was posted, I think it's even on our forums if I'm not mistaken, but social media. But anyways, information's out there. As you can see, kind of all the teams going. So the 5 teams I talked about. Then we got Snoop Dogg, a.k.a. Acer Dog, and Neo Lucian MRR going from Southeast Asia. Those are the 2 teams. They didn't qualify, by the way. That's not because they got invited or anything. They actually had to qualify. They played their own event, ended up getting here. They were the top 2. And then World Elite actually coming from China. They were at the World Finals, of course. So a lot of people may remember. So didn't have the greatest performance, unfortunately. But, China is a new region for Heroes of Newerth. We're really trying to develop it over there as far as the game goes. And what better way to invite their teams to big events like this. So World Elite going to be there. Hey, you never know.
Well, they didn't get invited. They actually qualified as well.
They qualified. Okay, that is worth pointing out, yes. That's definitely worth
and talking a little bit about the Southeast Asian qualifier, I know there's probably a lot of people out there that didn't get to follow that. We covered it quite a bit on hunchware.com, Fantasy, with some written articles. But the way that actually worked is they took quite a few Thai teams, I want to say 32 teams from their top divisions, and stuck them into a bracket. And 2 out of those teams would actually go on to play the teams from all of the Southeast Asian region. And so in that bracket, you actually had all the major names that you know. Teams like Turtle Masters, Snoop Dogg, you had MRR, Myth Hybrid, Myth S2Y, like all these different teams in there. And so these 2 Thai teams were the ones that made it out as actually Swindle's walking over here.
Uh-oh.
He's gonna come make noise. Oh no!
What would he know about this?
Oh, Swindle knows that he liked casting Han at the playoffs quite a lot. I'm being
Well, isn't
tackled.
that cute?
Oh,
What does he think about MR and Acer Dog coming
good.
back?
Podcast. I just missed everybody.
Breaky wants to know what you think about MRR and Dog
Dog.
coming back.
Going into
Really?
DreamHack.
Interesting.
Gonna put you on the spot
I
here.
haven't really put much time into the SEA teams recently, but I don't think Sync Esports needs another nightmare. So I imagine they'll be trying harder this time. Less woo-woo-wooing like through the stage. Everyone forgets rule number 1. You don't talk shit until you win a LAN. Until then, you're bad.
Words of wisdom,
All right.
as always.
He's back to
Melons.
scrimming. He just had to come get a drink. As I was saying,
Yeah, go ahead.
Dog actually took down Myth Hybrid pretty decisively in that bracket, so that they made it into the Southeast Asian portion, where it seems like DCES were actually there once again, but it ended up being both the Thai teams that were the ones that qualified.
Yeah, it's. I was actually. God, I wish I could find that bracket. Unfortunately, so not prepared. But, anyways, the point is, yeah, as you're pointing out, there was definitely a lot of teams in that. It wasn't just simply like, oh, you happen to do well at World Finals, here you go. They definitely had to qualify, and it was a trek for them. Apparently, MRR is looking really good lately as well, too. Obviously, they got to the finals at the World Finals. They lost to BMG in the end, but they did some work. Acer Dog, of course, famously known for defeating Sync Esports, so. Big deals there. Snooey, what are your thoughts on the Southeast Asian teams? And I don't know if you've done a lot of research on these guys by any means, but what do you think of those two teams there and them coming?
I think they've been looking quite strong in general. I've been watching some of their tournament games. I mean, I was watching the qualifiers as well. Xena Viper was streaming them. So I got a good look at both of the teams, and I really feel like Acer D-Dog especially have stepped up their games. I felt like they looked really good in the Season 3 World Finals as well, but unfortunately they didn't quite make it versus HPX in the semifinals, which was surprising because I certainly felt like when Acer D-Dog beat, who was it? Was it Sync? No, they played... either way, it doesn't matter. But they looked good, and I think that they're going to be even more dangerous now coming to Sweden.
Acer Dog was the team that ran the Fade strat, right? The Sandwraith Fade that got Single paranoid.
I cannot remember. I have not started watching replays yet.
Yeah. I think they were. God, it's again, events like that where there's just so much happening. It's like I would love to be able to just pull it up in my brain here, but I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, but... Yeah, no, they're both scary teams and clearly have shown. I mean, that isn't that kind of the. Yes, I may oversell sometimes. I mean, that's a part of the job, right? No, but in the past, talking about Southeast Asian teams and what to expect of them at these LAN events and everything, it's always like, yes, this is the year. This is the year. They're going to do good. And more so than not, they seem like it kind of falls through, and we have our North American European teams dominating. But obviously, these last World Finals showed that is not the case anymore. I mean, they've had enough time now. They have a growing scene, even still, as big as it is, and they clearly are on another level than we used to know them by, and that's just making it that much more intriguing going to this DreamHack event. Like, was the World Finals a fluke, or is the DreamHack event going to really show us what these teams can bring? Obviously, there is the aspect that they are traveling now, so you do have to think that has some effect on it, so... Very
Can't
interested.
underestimate the hometown crowd just
Yeah.
being at your back as well.
Exactly.
So now we've got a new hometown favorite with teams like Sync,
Yep.
Druids,
Yeah.
BMG,
BMG also happens
all
to be
on their
from
home
there.
ground.
That's true. Gosh, is this let's just right off the bat here. That's actually a good discussion. So I've been sitting here saying it in a couple of posts recently, and I was even called out because you say this all the time, but. Maybe, but I feel like that this actually really is one of the best LAN events we've ever put together as far as the team's going. I mean, all 8 teams, outside of World Elite, they are kind of that asterisk. I understand that. But outside of World Elite, this has to be one of the greatest composition of teams as far as unknown. I mean, what is going to happen? We don't really know. Do you agree? I mean, what is your deal, Beef?
I think the only one that comes to my mind as one that could compete with this is Winter 2011 when we had teams like Easy that showed up. Even it was just a crazy competition that nobody was quite sure either. Everybody expected Fnatic to win,
Yeah.
but there was like the potential from upsets, like even to teams that were showing up for the first time, like the guys from Frenetic Array. That was their first appearance, right?
I think
And
so, yeah. That was yeah.
I could be wrong here. I could be talking completely out of my ass. But I mean, like the Reason Gaming team back then with like Yiftig and the boys, like I remember them having one of the most epic games of Han that I have ever seen. And so that's the only one that I could think that has like this level of uncertainty and like evenness between the center group of teams. Because right now, once again, everybody expects Sync Esports to win. Like, even though they just lost a major LAN, that was their wake-up call. And they've all said that they're focusing more than they've ever focused before because they need to win this.
Yeah.
And so you expect them to maybe be the favorites, but even so, if they're ahead of these other teams, it's not by much.
Yeah.
And the rest of these teams, 1 through 7, they're crazy packed in.
I know you've been around for a while, Snooey. I mean, is there anything that comes to your mind as far as something that is as good as this one, or maybe what Beef said, or what are your thoughts on this?
I
Composition.
agree with Beef, definitely with the whole like 2011 and that kind of stuff. But I still feel like, I mean, if you were to compare like the teams in today's time and one in the past, I mean, today's team would still kick the past's ass if they were to go up versus each other, because even if like you could argue that some players, some teams were stronger in the past and were actually able to beat like Sync players back during season 1, for example, like Stay Green were very dominant, and Sync Esports players weren't as dominant at that time. I still feel like, I mean, Sync Esports, for example, they have sticked into it, or they have stick to the Heroes of New York community, they have stick to the game. I mean, they have improved, and you can't really compare, I feel like, season 1, season 3, because this is a new era, and these are new players, new meta. Like, this game is constantly changing with patch notes and new teams approaching the scene and so on. So I feel like as far as it comes to like Heroes of New York pure competition, I feel like this is the event. Like, this is like where we're going to see the best matches ever played before.
Yeah, I feel like one that's kind of coming to mind is maybe even the NASL event as well was actually pretty good as far as the finals went. But that was only 4 teams to be fair. So, but
We got to get on NASL's level. Oh.
Yeah, that was the beginning, the creation of that man.
Creation of Moon.
That great stuff. But yeah,
He might have to make an appearance here soon.
I heard he's there, and if he doesn't come on the webcam here in the near future, it's going to be disappointing. So hopefully we get to see Moon.
But, I mean, from my perspective, the teams are incredible for this event. And so we had to make sure when we were going into this that the format that we actually set up did the teams and the event itself justice. So, I mean, I know that we released that information a little bit earlier in this week, but I personally love the format that we went with for this event. Znui, have you actually gotten to take a look at what that is?
Not too specifically. I just glanced over it.
Well then.
Okay.
Breaky-ass graphics.
Well, so I do. Now, do we? They do have the teams on them though. So do we just want to get into that now?
Oh. Well then,
we might as well, or do we want to go over the format first? I
don't know.
I can create a default one here. Hold on.
I jumped the gun, Breaky.
Just a little bit. So
Sorry.
we are going to be
really
announcing
hyped.
the teams in each group. Obviously, that's pretty important, and especially with this format and everything. So we'll be doing that here shortly. But yeah, give me just a second to update a blank graph here, so we can look at that instead. But the format, it is really interesting. Let me pull up the picture here. Overlay. Just want to make sure it's not the one with this stuff on it. Okay. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's not the one with the teams, though. We're good. I'm failing already. Okay, this should be good. Okay. So, here you go. As you can see, so it's basically a mini double elimination tournament is what it ultimately is. Kind of. Is that a fair statement?
We call these GSL groups, and we've seen them before in Han a couple times. Normally for the Han Tour playoffs, we've actually run this kind of bracket. But the way that it actually works, because we went through like 20 different formats trying to decide how we wanted to go about this. And one of the things that we heard not only from viewers but competitors as well was that the best of one format employed at the World Finals, employed because they were, of course, short a little bit of time and everything, was just not ideal. Teams need to have a better series in order to determine who is the better team, who should be advancing. We looked at best of 2 round robins, and we said, okay, that's better. What else can we do? And we came to the realization that every single game at this event should be a best of 3.
Yeah.
And so that's actually what we ended up doing here with the GSL style groups. Every game will be a best of 3, and each team has at least one chance to be eliminated.
Yep. It's a really cool format, definitely, and I think it'll help us determine the true champion. Because a lot of events, even these last World Finals, as you're kind of pointing out, a lot of people look at, well, if it was a best of 1, I mean, if they actually had to play sync, what would have happened, blah blah blah. But this really eliminates pretty much all of that chance to say all these things. I mean, you get 2 chances, as you're pointing out. So yeah, Snooey. I don't know if I assume you're watching the series bracket. So again, it should look somewhat familiar as far as double. What do you think though? Again, this is one group. The second group will be the same format. What do you think about it?
I personally love it. I'm actually, like you guys mentioned as well, GSL and all that kind of stuff. I love to watch StarCraft, and they have this similar bracket system where, so even if you 2 teams face up versus each other and one lose, I mean, you can't really blame that you got bad luck in the drawing, for example, for the groups, because you're actually going to have to play versus the loser as well. So I personally just love this format. It's a really good one, I feel, for tournaments.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things that we liked was we feel like if you're not using a single group and just taking the people from the very top and then giving somebody at the very, very top an advantage, you're doing some kind of an error. So we took that to the smaller groups, the groups of 4, and said the person that wins this group needs to have a decisive advantage over the people that actually are not winning the group. So in this case, the two are going to be eliminated, 2 advance, but there's a big advantage for number 1 in that group as compared to number 2 when we actually go into the final bracket.
Do we have the coverage schedule planned yet?
We have not planned.
We haven't actually got that 100% figured out.
As far as putting the games into the schedule?
Well, just making what I want to get at is that expect most of the matches pretty much to be covered. Is what I want to get, especially the bigger time matches from.
We've got
from the
theoretical schedule. It's not 100% finalized yet.
Okay. So, but point is that definitely expect a lot of coverage to be taking place. Again, all these best of 3 series here. So I guess what I was kind of getting at was, I mean, people may be concerned that you're going to be missing out a lot of matches because of this format. But to make it clear, it's going to be spread out enough and everything.
It's going to be long days of casting, but lots of games.
Having 2 co-casters, that's where that'll help too. So, but yeah, no doubt a lot of casting ahead here.
But as I was saying, I mean, Breaky, they get the big advantage from being number 1 in the group versus number 2. Are we able to pull up the final bracket?
Yeah, I actually got it up right here. I was trying to get the one
cool.
with the text on it though. Let me just do that real quickly. But yeah, so here you go. This is the one with the text that explained it a little better. So,
so I'm assuming that's on screen right now.
The first place teams from each group, yeah. So I'll let you say it.
Yeah, and so once again, you need to make sure that the guys that went through their group undefeated in matches, they get that advantage, and they do so by being seeded into the winner's bracket. They've still got that chance to lose 1 game before they fall into the loser's bracket, whereas the guys that lost once in their group stage, they're seeded directly into the lower bracket. So they still have the chance to make it to the grand final, but it's going to be a lot harder. So anyway, we keep going right here with, once again, best of 3s. Then we get to that grand final. All those going to be on the stage. We're extremely excited about that. And I feel like it's a really fair tournament, a really fair format that's going to give us some of the best games we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, this is we haven't done anything like this for a DreamHack event or anything like that, have we? This is it's new for us, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah. Really
I can't think of anything that we've done like this on land before.
Very cool. You invented a great format, Beef.
Yay! Zoe, what do you think?
Looks good to me. What the grand finals are those best of 3 or best of 5, by the way?
It's going to be best of 3.
Best of 3 all the way through to the finish.
Yeah,
that's how we go.
We would love to have a best of 5 finals, but it comes down to if we wanted a best of 5 finals, then semis aren't going to be on the stages, and it comes down to us wanting to be able to get as many matches on this big stage as possible.
Yeah.
And so, that's where we're at. If we have
I
our
definitely
own
see your
event,
reasoning,
I'd love to have best of 5, but
That
in
No,
the
but
past we've always
yeah.
had to do like half a series on the stage. That wasn't something we
Yeah.
wanted to do.
That's
And so we
always
still came up
awkward.
with what I feel is a really good format, as well as a really good coverage schedule. That's going to get us a lot of matches on a really cool stage.
Yeah. And actually, more to that real quick. Our finals isn't going to be at the Dream Arena like it's been in the past, but that's because it's going to be on a huge main stage that's built for the purpose of showcasing, big matches for multiple games, but including Han on that day. Both the semifinals and the finals. So it'll be. I think they're seating for at least 500 plus people or something like that. Like it's a good amount of people that, and obviously even standing around and everything. I'm sure that'll be happening. So yeah, definitely going to be a great atmosphere.
For those of you
For
that
that.
have been to an event at DreamHack before, it's the same kind of stages that events like StarCraft 2 or Dota 2 have used in the past. Just a huge amount of seating and a really well put together stage that should be extremely hype.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to that. Okay, well, we know the formats now. Now, who the hell's playing who is what we need to decide here. So, okay, so let's just say this was an interesting process here. No, but ultimately, so the groups have been decided. These are the official groups for DreamHack Summer 2015. It's 2 groups. Right now, they're just called Group 1 and Group 2. I don't know if that name's going to change, honestly, or not, but Group 1 and Group 2 is what we got. We're going to take a look to see how they shaped up. So here you go. So here's Group 1. It's going to be Druids versus World Elite, and then Complexity versus Acer Dog. So these are the 4 teams in Group 1 right here. Druids, World Elite, Complexity, and Acer Dog is Group 1. So that's how that shaped up.
I think it's supposed to be Complexity versus MRR.
No, we talked about this.
I think we switched it around, didn't we?
We switched it to this. It was the other way before.
Okay.
I'm sure Complexity will do fine either way. If that's what you were worried for.
No.
Yeah.
We're not worried about that. There was
I'm just kidding.
a discussion about which team should be.
Maybe these aren't the final groups.
I'm like trying to look it up real quick because I'm pretty sure.
I might have typed it in wrong, and that's possible.
Yeah, you typed it in wrong.
Production value at its finest. Well, that hype is ruined. So how were they? How were they set up then? What about? Oh, geez,
It's just
no, don't
MRR
do
and
that.
Dog. You switched the 2 teams.
Okay.
Sorry, production value.
Hashtag production value here.
These groups were literally just decided, like not even an hour ago. There's been a lot of discussion about them.
Okay, so that it is going to be MOR versus Complexity. So Druids versus World Elite and then MOR versus Complexity. Okay,
Yes.
there we go. On the fly, here we go.
Nailed it.
Save there.
All right, Stewie, what do you think about those matches? I mean, Druids versus World Elite, it's like, yay, great. But MRR versus Complexity is one of our first 2 matches. Yo, that's some hype.
If I recall correct as well, MMR is one of those offensive teams, and Complexity is more of a laid back, see what happens, more or less counter your opponent. So I think those 2 teams match up very, very well.
Yeah, I'm excited because Complexity's never played an international event before. They've never played one of these teams from Thailand, from Southeast Asia, so it should be a really good one. Who do you actually see coming out on top of a group with 3 really strong teams in Druids, Complexity, and MRR?
I would have to go with Complexity Gaming. as things are shaping up right now. I do know that Druids is, definitely up there as well, and I'm not going to take anything away from MMR, but I feel like Complexity really they are hyped of going to the first LAN event ever. They're hyped about going to Sweden. They're going to boot camping before, and I know the guys. They're very good in preparation value, and I just feel like they are going to bring it. They want that, Complexity #1 spot at DreamHack to show that they are the best Complexity team ever in Heroes of New Earth. So I'm gonna go with them.
We've never had a Haunt team win a LAN. They've won a lot of online events, but never a LAN. So I would have to award it to them over some superstar MOBA players if they bring it home. We'll have to see. Breaky,
Okay.
how's the production coming?
Yeah, no, I think I got it figured out here. I've had Group 1 here on the. So again, Druids versus World Elite, Complexity versus Team MR or Neolution MR, gonna be those matches. So okay, we got that, and then so that takes us then to Group 2, which is gonna be right here. This is right. Yes. Okay. Whew. All right. So Sync Esports versus Acerdog, and then Reason
Rematch.
Gaming versus Bad Monkey Gaming. Yeah, so let's just say that's an interesting start there to that group. As you pointed out, the rematch. Acer famously defeating Sync in the group stages. So
I think that was the opening match.
I
at
think
Thailand,
it was.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a long
Sick.
day. But yes, I think that was that opening match, and then Reason versus Bad Monkey Gaming. Now, with group stages, there's always the idea of group of death, that term thrown around here. Is this a safe bet that Group 2 is the group of death? I'm going to go ahead and say, looking at these groups, this is what stood out to me as the tougher.
It's certainly a strong group. Whether you can say group of death or not, maybe not. I think Dog has consistently been the weaker of the Southeast Asian regions. I think BMG has been really underperforming, which is why they got as low of a seed as they did going into this event. They've been really underperforming online since they won their world championship, but we know that we didn't expect much out of them going into Thailand either. We weren't even sure if they were going to make it out of their group. And then they win the whole thing. These guys rise to the occasion when they want to prove something. And they have proven to be land beasts in the past. So that's going to be really impressive for them. Now, Reason Gaming, for me, is the complete and total wild card. I have no clue where these guys are going to end up. Last time, they didn't even make it to the event that they qualified for. And
not gonna get
so are they going to show up? Are they going to show up in their plays? I'm not sure. It's going to be some strong competition in that group, though. I have absolutely no clue where to start in terms of who would win this or even who makes it past the group stage.
Znui, what do you think of Group 2 and your thoughts, initial reactions?
Well, there is it's a best of 3 this time, so Sync can't really blame the best of 1 format if they were to lose this time.
Best of 3 and double elimination.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
We're making sure that the best teams, the most consistent teams, are going through.
That's
so
good.
no excuses ever. Sync.
Dang.
Something else that also stands out is that one of those teams, like one of those 4 teams, are going to leave the event rather quickly. I mean, Reason Gaming versus Bad Monkey Gaming, I can see either team winning. Sync Esports versus ACD Dog. I mean, I'm gonna have to give Sync the edge for obvious reasons, but I mean, still could be a very close one. But after that, I mean, I feel like ACD Dog, for example, if they were to go versus Reason Gaming or Bad Monkey Gaming, I feel like either team could win. I mean, I feel like this is like really wild card kind of group. I feel like, I mean, the other one, Group A, I feel like it's a little bit safer at least to place your bets. But this one, I have absolutely no idea who's going to win.
I mean, let's talk about that other one, though. Like, everybody kind of expects World Elite to be gone, but then you still got 3 really solid teams. Like, MRR looked phenomenal down there in Thailand. Complexity and Druids, both 2 teams fresh to LAN versus LAN monsters, MRR, who have been to probably 20 LANs. I mean, I can't even predict which 2 are going to come out of Group A.
How many outside of Thailand have they been to?
I think they have 2 players that have been to a DreamHack.
Yeah. So there is that too. Again, that goes back to the traveling thing. Let's just do this. Let's just put us on the spot right here. You had to pick 2 teams.
Oh,
2 teams. Znui, we'll start with you. Group 1. Which 2 teams are advancing out of Group 1?
Druids and Complexity.
What seeds? Who's going to be the first seed? Who's going to be the second?
God.
I think Complexity is going to take it, and I think the Druids are going to have a tough time dealing with MMR, but in the end, I feel like they are going to come out in that second spot.
You're just saying that because Beef's on the cast.
No,
No way.
These guys
I can't
are-
even say that. I can't even say that. Like, no bias.
I mean, at the power rankings, I'm not sure if we're going to display that later on or if it's already been
Yeah,
displayed.
no,
but
we'll show it later on.
I actually put Druids on top of Complexity, but that goes for like the Deadeye Bounty League and all that kind of stuff as well. But when it comes to the actual LAN event, I'm actually going to go with Complexity Gaming. I feel like they are going to be stronger at the LAN itself.
I hope so.
I'll do mine. I think I could see Team MRR and Complexity advancing on ultimately. Druid's going to be left out. So they're facing off in the first round, Complexity and Team MRR. Obviously, somebody has to win that one. I'm not sure. If I had to say, I would probably. You know what? I mean, being the first match, I'm going to go with Team MRR. I'm going to say Team MRR wins that, and then they go on to make the finals out of this number 1 seed. And then Complexity, though, they grind it through the losers bracket, and they get the 2nd seed out of Group 1. So
I could see it. So going a little bit more in depth with the predictions, if it was a best of 1, I would give MRR the advantage over Complexity. Being that it's a best of 3 and that MRR has a very specific aggressive style, and like you said, Complexity is that more laid back, wait for the late game, try to minimize mistakes, that kind of a mindset. I think in a best of 3 format, I think MRR will take game 1, but Complexity will learn to adapt. They're a very adaptive team. I think they're going to win that matchup. Now, the guys on Fresh, they've definitely got a lot of those similar characteristics. Or, excuse me, Druids.
yeah.
God, that's a hard one.
It's it's at the same time. It's like Druids is obviously, again, no one's expecting anything different to happen there other than them winning the first match. So they will have that momentum, to be fair, and feeling good at least. It's a kind of warm up, you could say, coming into the event. So that's an advantage. So again, they were the first team to qualify, so they deserve it in the end. But I still think Complexity and MOR. I'm calling it here.
Calling it.
All right.
Yeah.
Druids are looking for revenge, though. I mean, they were so close at making it to the World Finals during Season 3, being
true.
beaten there by BMG in the end. And ProBusk also, I mean, I was close for Season 2, I think, and Sibbe as well as ProBusk. They have been at several DreamHacks before, so I feel like we're talking about MMR having the experience of going to DreamHack, but these guys in Druids, they have it as well.
Yeah.
Can't forget about that.
They don't have it as a team, but individually, absolutely. I got to give it to Druids.
True.
I got to give it to Druids. I think that MRR being out of their element with the travel, with all that, I have a hard time seeing them make it out of the group with strong teams like Druids and Complexity. Especially Druids being on somewhat home soil, right? I mean, they're all Scandinavian, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
They are.
They're European.
So not as much travel time, the experience. Yeah, I got to say Complexity and Fresh make it out of Group A.
All right. So now definitely, well, I mean, they're both obviously fun groups here, but now let's talk about Group 2. If you had to make predictions, what do you got? Snooey, what do you got out of Group 2? Who's first,
Let's
who's
see.
second?
Do you have the groups being displayed again on the stream? Just waiting for it to pop up here.
Sync
so I can
versus
see it.
Acer Dog, and Reason versus Bad Monkey Gaming here.
All
That's gonna
right.
be the
Well, I'm gonna
bracket.
go with Sync. I don't think that they're going to make the same mistake again. They have stated themselves that they are a new roster now. They are a new team, and I think they're going to take out Recent Gaming and Bad Monkey Gaming as well. I know that they have a hard time dealing with Recent Gaming, though. Previous scrims as well as tournaments have shown that, and like if Sync Esports were to go up versus any other European team or NA team, I would like definitely favor Sync Esports. But just Recent Gaming, they're having a hard time with that team, so I'm not sure who to play in that first spot. I'm gonna go with Sync Esports in the end, and then I'm gonna actually go with Recent Gaming over Bad Monkey Gaming
Okay.
as the second one.
No love for Acer Dog?
I feel like they have improved a lot, but I still like Recent Gaming, I don't know. Their latest performance, I feel like they got this. They're gonna figure out the LAN event. They also have those kind of players with a lot of experience, like Tankafed. And is that the only one actually? Might be. But no, I don't know. I believe in Recent Gaming. I've been playing with them at times, and I feel like they are getting their stuff figured out, their coordination, their communication. As long as they get that working, and I feel like at LAN events you really like step up the communication. So, I'm gonna go Sync Esports and Reason.
Yeah. Okay. Me, it's I can't not say Sync. That's just that just seems silly to me. You got to think Sync at least, and then it is so tough. It really is. I mean,
This event's nuts.
I want to say BMG, but it's just they haven't been looking that great lately. I mean, it's just it's a little worrisome going into this LAN event here. And
Here's the deal with BMG. Like, they even said it when they qualified on Sunday in their interview. They haven't been motivated.
Yeah,
they got back to Thailand, and they feel like they lost a lot of motivation by winning the biggest event that there is. And if they're able to find that motivation, they could absolutely win this group. They could win this event. But if they don't have that motivation, they don't stand a chance against these teams.
Yeah. I want to say BMG. I want to say I'm gonna go with Sync and BMG. It just seems too like almost ridiculous to not say those two teams, but at the same time, I get why I'm struggling here. But I'm gonna say Sync and BMG. Sync will be 1, BMG will be 2. There you go. I decided, and now it's Beef's turn to decide.
I got Sync over Dog, 100%. Like,
no question.
I know that my boys at Sync are not going to let me down again, and the pride of the EU region. It's not going to happen. Not in the best of 3. Not knowing that that would be an embarrassment, once again, for the best team in the world to lose to the guys that just traveled across the world and have never been to this event before. It's not going to happen. So I've got Sync taking it over right there. On the other side, I feel like the guys from BMG have to find that motivation, knowing that they're going to be representing their home countries at DreamHack, at a place where they're going to be fan favorites as the world champions, coming in there, playing their first event at DreamHack. They have to find that motivation, start scrimming better, start playing those solo matches. And once they do, they're going to be back up to that same skill that we saw performing there in Thailand. And so I think that they're going to take it over Reason. Reason just being a little bit too inexperienced on LAN, being very inconsistent as well, even in their online performance. So I've got Sync taking it with BMG in second as well.
All right. And I don't even know if we want to go further. Like, is there even a point to just try to predict it all?
Who wins the whole thing?
Who wins the whole thing?
Oh,
now that we know
God.
our top 4s, who wins the whole thing? It's just like, why even try? I mean, it's, who knows? Like, we could sit here and play out the whole bracket just in our minds, and you'd probably be wrong anyway. So, yeah, it's, again, there's just...
I'm making a long shot prediction. All right, here it is. Formless walks into a Tempest hole 46 minutes into Game 3 of the finals.
What?
On Master of Arms.
On Master of Arms.
Specifically.
After Oscar blinks forward on Pharaoh and drops his wall of mummies.
They're going to pick Hammerstorm, but they're not going to use the Shrunken Head on him.
Oh, God.
They're going to forget to
I
activate
remember
Shrunken
that
Head.
one.
This is
I
all
got-
going to connect.
I got Complexity going for the hat trick with silver medals.
Oh, gosh. How can you
Kidding,
say
they're gonna
that?
Win it all. No, they're
course
going to win
they
it
are.
all. Absolutely. USA, USA. You have no clue how powerful the USA, USA chants are.
There's going to be tons of them there at DreamHack. I'm sure there's
All right,
gonna
so
be tons.
just to clarify, you are predicting Beaver Banger to to fail in the 50-minute mark.
It's
walk straight
bound
into
to
the
happen.
results, mate.
Name
That's your
change to
prediction.
Formless.
Yes.
Okay,
We're talking
formless.
about formless here.
He'll name James back to Beaver Banger after he throws the match.
God, but no matter what, I mean, the final 4, like, and then especially knowing that it's in essence kind of a double elimination from there on too from the final 4, it's like we're gonna have a crazy event, man. Oh, it's just so cool looking at this and realizing that it's just gonna be an epic one, man.
And we're gonna have like a really solid crowd. One of the like unfortunate things about the last time we were at DreamHack was there wasn't any like seating for like the crowds to actually like get involved, and like we're making a very concerted effort to make sure that there's a lot of space for fans to be there. And not only that, but the fans that are watching from home, they get the feel that we're at a LAN event, we're at the birthplace of hot esports, and get the excitement that comes along with that. Try to convey that through the stream.
Yes, sir. Man, oh man, this is again June 13th through the 15th, I believe, is the match days and everything. And again, as far as actual times and whatnot, and what all the matches, how those are going to look as far as schedule, that'll be announced here in the near future. There's still a little bit of time, of course, about 3 weeks away or so from the event, but we'll have all that information.
We're going to be announced that next week. But
next week, okay.
Hopefully,
it will be
before
the
final
event.
confirmation of a few things.
It will be before the event, but possibly next week. Coming at
Maybe.
you as far as all
We'll
that
see.
information
I probably should have said
soon. Yeah, and then again, the prize pool as well. Again, it's a base 30,000, but very possibly, very likely, even going to be going up because of the community funding on top of it with these 8-bit avatars. Holy crap, man! We just had the Dr. Gamer just come out. That is one of the.
I like the Rage
coolest
Kids haunt.
avatars.
I'm gonna have to play some haunt tonight with the Rage Kids haunt.
That's pretty. It's a reflection. It's a reflection on so many players. Let's be honest. They did a good job with that one. All right. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. DreamHack Summer, baby. It's coming up, and I could see us possibly doing another show before then too. We'll see. But a lot of the teams they're gonna be heading out there again the week before even to start boot camping and whatnot. So. Definitely some preparation in the works for that event. All right, so enough about DreamHack, though, for the time being. We got another event that's currently going on, something called the Deadeye Bounty League. Deadeye Bounty League happening, and we are officially in the top 4. We are officially in the top 4 of the Deadeye Bounty League. The group stages wrapping up. We finished it off yesterday with Complexity defeating Bad Monkey Gaming 3-1. In case you missed that, that means Complexity, well, they already had the number 1 seed, but what more so it meant is that BMG was out. It allowed Druids to step in as the number 2 seed from Group A. So here's the Deadeye Bounty League brackets, the playoffs here coming up and what to expect. It's going to be Complexity versus Reason Gaming, and then Sync Esports versus Druids. And the biggest thing to stress on this, guys, is that each match is going to be on its own day. So it's just like the group stages worked and everything. There's not going to be overlapping matches. So we will cover every single match here on Honcast from the group stages here. It's going to be this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, then Tuesday and Thursday, then the following Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be best of 5 all the way through, and eventually the grand finals will be a best of 7.
1 game advantage.
1 game advantage, sure. 1 game advantage, but a best of 7. We have never done that before, I want to say. I do not recall.
I do not believe so.
Ever doing a best of 7. So,
I've only known of 1 best of 7 ever in all of MOBA. So, it's a special event.
Pretty big deal. Okay, so yeah, these are the brackets. Reactions on this. Snoopy, we'll start with you. What do you look at these brackets here, and how do you think they're looking, and possibilities you see?
Looking pretty good. Looking scary. I wouldn't want to go up versus either of these teams. Sync Esports, Druids, Complexity Gaming, Reason Gaming. Yeah, they're. I don't know. All of them are going to be so loaded in before the whole DreamHack. I mean, this is their time to actually prove themselves and get some respect in before the DreamHack event as well. I would have to go with. I mean, in Complexity and Reason Gaming. Like their past clashes, I think Complexity Gaming is currently 2-0 in series throughout the DreamHack qualifiers. Or I think so.
I think that's right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go with Complexity Gaming in the first one, defeating Reason Gaming, maybe a 3-1 victory, and then Sync Esports versus Druids. Damn, we haven't seen Druids play a tournament game or we have seen them play it, but it's not being like.
Yeah. Well, because they had a forfeit win, too, against Team Disband. So it's like they won the first qualifier. They've only played 2 best of 5 since, and that's been like a month and a half ago. So they really haven't played a whole lot of Han. I agree with you.
It's going to be a tough one, but I'm going to have to say Sync in the end.
Okay. Beef, what your thoughts on the brackets here?
Okay, my initial thoughts are that these teams, Reason, Druids, Complexity, Sync, 2 out of the 3 people said that these are going to be our top 4 teams at DreamHack. Like, this is a straight-up preview of DreamHack, man. I am so hyped for this.
That's true.
I'm crazy hyped.
It could possibly end up this way, yeah.
I've got Complexity taking it over Reason. Sync and Druids, it just depends what Druids shows up. Like, if it's the Druids that were playing as well as they were a month ago, I think Druids wins that. But it's just such a wild card. I mean, going forward in the bracket, I think we end up having. I think we have a grand finals between Complexity and Druids.
Dang.
Sync takes third.
Sync's going to flop. Sync's going to be too focused on DreamHack. They're just going to forget about this event.
Yep.
It could happen. You never know. Yeah, Druids is the wild card for me. As weird as that sounds. I mean, again, qualifying first for DreamHack and everything, it's you're right. We really haven't seen them. They haven't played a lot lately. So that's going to be fun seeing them play. By the way, speaking of that too, so tomorrow will be the first match. Complexity versus Reason Gaming will be tomorrow, best of 5. That's at 12 p.m. Eastern, 1800 Central European Time, as it always is. Then on Sunday, it'll be Sync versus Druid. So again, it's going to be a best of 5 every single day. Well, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then the following Saturday, Sunday. So that's the full schedule there. Something else as well, again, what really makes this format intriguing is it is more than just simply pay out to the top finishers. As it worked in the group stages, it's every single game is on the line as far as money goes. Now, it changes up a little bit here with the brackets, where now every series matters when it comes to prize. You see right off the bat, all 4 of these teams, they actually get $500 just for qualifying for the brackets. So, there you go. There's a nice $500 on top of the money they won for the group stages. Then on top of that, if you win your round of 4 matchup, you get another $1,500, and so on. You can see how it breaks down. And eventually, the grand finals, you win that, you get a nice $3,500 cash. $3,500 cash there. So, obviously, individually, it's still some decent money. But then, when you add it up as far as the potential to make so much money, it's pretty good money on the line here. What is ultimately a $14,000 prize pool, and again, it's a pretty unique format too. So I think that'll help incentivize some great series on top of that. Knowing that you're not just playing for the eventual grand finals, every series matters, even more so than just moving on. So yeah, I thought that was cool. Stewie, do you have any thoughts on that format? Do you think it's actually good to see that, or do you like it, or?
It's interesting, at least in the group stages. Now, when we've come to the playoffs, I don't think it's going to matter too much, or it's not going to be something that the teams are actually thinking about. They just want to win. They want to place in number 1 spot. But during the group stage, I mean, it really, even though they were up, for example, with 2-0, they didn't relax. They didn't let go in a single game. Every single game mattered for those teams. So as far as the group stages, I really feel like, it brought some extra hype.
Definitely. We had some really good group matches.
Yeah.
That one yesterday was really good.
That was, BMG took the first game, and then Complexity came from behind, won the series. Yeah, I'm looking at I'm reviewing it, too. USA. We had 3 of them ended up going the distance, multiple win 4 games. So, yeah, definitely it's just some good series overall in the group stages there. So, again, guys, Dead Eye Bounty League continues tomorrow as far as the brackets go now, and this is where it really gets extra interesting now, knowing what's on the line. So, going to be fun there. All right, so I think that'll lead us now into what possibly could be our final segment here, as show's moving on. We got power rankings coming back once again. Quincy brought these back recently. We had one previously. We're doing them again here, with a couple of events now happening once again. So we went through and each gave our personal power rankings of how we feel teams kind of shape up right now. And moving forward, so let's put Beef on the spot for this first one here.
What?
I'm gonna select Beef here first. Here's Beef's incorrect top 10 as far as what he has for power rankings.
Wow.
That is now defend yourself, sir.
I will defend myself. The top two teams went 3-0 in their DBL groups. They've both been looking really good. Sync qualifying second for the DreamHack qualifiers. Complexity taking that third spot. But they both followed it up with really solid performances. Did Sync actually go 9-0 in the groups? I can't remember
They
now.
did, yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. That's really impressive. Complexity going 9-1. Their one loss to BMG yesterday. But they were definitely looking really good there themselves. Excuse me 1 second here.
Got the sneezes. I will say mine might be pretty similar to what Beef had.
Pretty similar?
Yeah,
I didn't
we'll
even
get
have to
that
sneeze.
later.
I thought I did. I
there.
got back to the East Coast yesterday, and my allergies are just like killing me. Traveling like from East Coast to West Coast constantly. Anyway, I got Druids on there at number 3, and so a lot of people might actually put Druids higher, especially higher than Complexity, with their big wins over BMG in the group stage of DBL. They took the first qualifier in DreamHack, but we just haven't seen enough of them, and it's not necessarily their fault. It's just kind of the nature of the events that they're playing in right now, that they don't have a lot of appearances because they did qualify first in that DreamHack qualifier. So I just don't have enough information to put them higher right now. They looked really good a while ago, but I'm not sure if they're going to follow that up with other solid performances. BMG and Reason coming in at 4 and 5. Both teams have been kind of in the area of these top like five teams or so. And then going from there, Team Who, they had a really solid performance in the DBL. They made a really big run for it in the actual last finals here. Grief, Disband. There's been like a little bit of maybe these teams are going to be doing some swapping up of players. Maybe they might not even stick around right now. We are going to be putting on an event in the next couple of weeks that we're calling the DreamHack warm-up event, so they will have the opportunity to play a few more games before everybody heads off to DreamHack. But then after that, are they going to be sticking around and whatnot? On to Season 4 just around the corner. I hope that they certainly do, but they looked good. Solaire Club, they put up a lot of really good performances in the DBL, but didn't manage to take any games there. They also kind of failed to make it into the grand finals of any of these qualifiers, so they're down there. And then Shrek has Love, they've just been kind of hanging out too, but solid enough to make a 10th.
Yep. All right, let's go to mine here. As I mentioned, it's actually my top 5 are the same as yours as far as the order even.
Great minds, Breaky.
I guess so. That's what we got going on here. Sync, Complexity, Druids, Reason, BMG, and pretty much for the similar logic too. I mean, I do feel it's almost not fair to put Druids number 3 instead of number 2, just because again they qualified first, so they got their business taken care of out of the way, and that's why they weren't playing later qualifiers and whatnot. And we were just kind of talking about how we haven't seen a whole lot of them because of that too. Now I know Complexity won the head-to-head matchup against Druids in the Deadeye Bounty League, but that was late at night, and the Europeans need to sleep, and they didn't want to play them. Making all these excuses. I don't know. Anyways, I think that's interchangeable if anything, but yeah. So that's how it ended up for me, though. Number 6, Team Who. They've been very impressive, and this is a team that, man, if they ended up going to DreamHack, I would not have been surprised in the end of the way they were playing. I mean, they were close, obviously. They almost defeated BMG in the end, but in the end, it wasn't to be, and Badamaka Gaming won. So, but I look forward to Team Who hanging around definitely and seeing more of what they can do. Solaire Club, similar reasons there, similar logic there, really. It's they've had some impressive results, still waiting for that to really shine through, but this has been a very consistent team, though, and that usually ends up for the benefit in the end, so as we've seen many of times. Disband and Grief, I put Disband over Grief, but, really I think it's kind of either or. There's similar teams in the mindset. They have a lot of starting players, and we know their potential's there, but, how serious were they taking it? How committed were they? Maybe not the most, and I think that showed in the end. And then, of course, Shrek as well to wrap it up just because they're them. And they've been around for a while, too. So, Snooey, it's now your turn. I'm going to throw your list up right here.
Uh-oh, Snoo, you look embarrassed.
And how wrong you are all across the board now.
It's not that different.
Not that different, yeah. All right, so what do you got? You put Druid second. Okay.
Yes, I still feel like they deserve a spot.
Traitor.
you guys mentioned that it's when they played Complexity in that Bounty League, it was late at night for Europeans, and that's true. And that was also just before they replaced Labyrinth with Krake, so it was probably not the best team atmosphere at the time. And right after that transition, picking up the Krake, they went up and just defeated everyone in that qualifier number 1. And since then, they haven't lost a tournament game, as far as I know. So I would feel it pretty unfair not to place them. They're up there at that number 2 spot, actually. So I'm going to stick with that one. And then it looks pretty much similar to you guys. Complexity Gaming, or Recent Gaming in 4th, Bad Monkey Gaming 5th, Team Who at 6th. They were on fire during last DreamHack qualifier, almost making it to DreamHack, as you guys stated. Team Disband 7th. I feel like they actually deserve a higher spot in Team Grief, seeing as they were able to take one game out of Team Who, and that series could have ended either way. And Team Who more or less destroyed Team Grief in their series. So Team Grief at 8th place, and then Solar Club 9th, and Shrek's Love is 10. Then I also want to point out that there is a new team, USA team called Ping Advantage, that I was a little bit hesitant about if I were going to place them in that spot or number 10 spot or not, but they did defeat Complexity Gaming in a scrim. I know that Complexity, they used a ringer during the time, but still it's noteworthy that this team might be potentially an upcoming one.
Yeah, in the 6 actually casted that one.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at that. I recognize a couple of the Masatoshi. He actually rang for Complexity a couple times, and then Swaggy B. Yeah, a couple of names there recognized at least. Interesting. Look out for those guys. Get some more Murica representation going.
Yeah, Murica.
We need Diglett back. Where's he? Where's
Diglett? More like it.
All right, so there you go. Those are the power rankings here from ourselves. So I believe Quincy's planning on posting the article on that maybe later today, if not into next week.
Yeah, should be later.
Should be later today, though. Yeah. So as far as the power rankings go, from also other community members and ultimately how they turned out, you can look forward to that article as well as many more. HonTour.com, guys. Definitely check it out daily. It really is. They do a great job there with the riders and whatnot, getting some good content on there, and it's definitely some good reads there. So. I think that pretty much is going to start coming to a conclusion, though. We talked about all that we wanted to here, and in case you did tune in a little bit later on, guys, we officially announced at the beginning of the cast that Znui and Shorcan are both going to be co-casters at the DreamHack Summer 2015 event. They were both just so good at what they did, so both winning in the end, and they're both going to the event as a result. So. Znui able to join us here. Shorcan, unfortunately, unable to join us. He had obligations throughout this weekend here, but looking forward to that as well. So there's that news, and then we talked about plenty else. So I think we're good. We'll start going around the table here. Znui, one more time from you. Any shout outs you want to make? Any final words from you?
Well, first of all, once again, thanks for the opportunity to actually allow me to cast the DreamHack. That's going to be amazing, and that's something that's definitely something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. So, thank you once again for that opportunity. Looking forward to it, meeting you guys and all the competitive teams, and hopefully as many Heroes of New York fans as possible. Thank you for the support for everyone who's voted for me in this caster contest. I'm looking to do a very good job, or I'm hopefully going to make you guys happy with the casting during DreamHack. So, thanks.
All right, Beef, what do you got?
Thanks for tuning in, guys. There was a lot of stuff that we were really proud and excited to talk about in today's cast. When it comes down to the North Next Caster competition and some plans for DreamHack and the details of the actual tournament there and everything. So thanks for tuning in and sharing this with us. We hope that you guys are as excited as we are about the coming weeks and months for Han, even with the Deadeye Bounty League ending next Sunday, which, by the way, we're hoping to have something special for that event as well, in addition to being a best of 7, of course, something even more special. But with that being over, we're still even going to have more Han between then and DreamHack, as we'll be having what we call the DreamHack Summer Warm-Up Event, $1,500 event taking place just a couple days after the Deadeye Bounty League finishes. Make sure that everybody is warmed up, even the guys that didn't make it into the Deadeye Bounty League Grand Finals. They get to play some games there, get a little bit of cash, have some motivation before everybody heads over to Sweden congrats to Znui, Shorkon, and everybody else that participated in the Newards Next Caster competition. Shout out to my new boys over there at Complexity. The guys, Formless, Baba Ganoush, What You Got, Oscar, Fuzzy Sloth. You guys are awesome. Having a lot of fun watching those guys play so far. And I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody at the event. Shout out to Complexity and Fantasy and the writers and everybody else. Thanks for watching.
And with that said, guys, it's going to officially start doing it here on the podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as always, and looking forward to moving forward here. So once again, guys, tomorrow we got Deadeye Bounty League action kicking off with the playoffs. What surely is going to be a great, great event all throughout. Complexity versus Reason Gaming, 12 p.m. Eastern, 1800 Central European Time. That'll be a best-of-5 matchup coming at you. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. We'll see you next time here on Honcast.